What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Bucks University. I am Nathan Marzion, joined as always by Stev, aka Bucks Breakdown. You can follow him on Twitter at Bucks_Breakdown, myself at Nathan Marzion, the podcast at BucksU_pod. Back again with more draft content as we get closer and closer to the NBA draft. We finished up our prospect profiles on our last episode that released this morning, June 17th. And now we're going to go over some questions that people asked us on Twitter about the draft today, and then we'll have another podcast going over our big boards before the actual draft on next Tuesday. So, let's just get right into these questions. And I know we'll talk about a bunch of different guys and kind of bounce back and forth between different types of questions and stuff, but let's just get into it because we're going to have a lot to get to, just talking general draft stuff. So, first up, someone asks, it seems like the Bucks are going guard. Which guard do you guys like the most and least at 10? So I think we'll kind of eliminate the guys that are unlikely to be around our pick. So I'll take away Wagler. I'll take away Acuff. I think that's about it. I think everyone else at least has a chance. So if you're talking about Flemings, Burries, Philon, Michael Brown, those are kind of the guards all in that range. Unless I'm missing someone, but those would be kind of the guys. I think my ranking would be, it's hard. Okay, hold on. Because it depends if we have Giannis or not. So if we have Giannis, I would go Burries, Flemings, Philon, Michael Brown. If we don't have Giannis, I would go Flemings, Philon, Michael Brown, Burries.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so if we have Giannis, I think Burries would be number one for me. Least that I would like the least in a Giannis context team, I think I would go with.
Don't say something bad here.
I think it would have to be Philon, man.
Okay. That's okay. I understand it. He's very light. He is.
Yeah, and that would just be. Yeah, I think I would. It's just that for me. He's super light. If they're trying to compete, I don't know if he's ready to go right now. So for that reason, I put him last. And but if we're talking non-Giannis team, I think I'd have Michael first, man. I think his upside is that high. I'd really like to see him just with the ball a ton, playing a bit off ball with Ryan too. I'd like a shot at developing that for sure.
Yeah, I'm just not as high on Michael's upside as others, but I do understand. I know he probably has the greatest upside of those guys, but I'm still not a total believer in it. So I still do like Flemings and Philon a little bit more. That's why I do have them a little bit higher. But yeah, I like all these guys, to be clear. I would be thrilled if we left the draft with any one of these four guards at 10, or even, I feel like Philon you could maybe get a little bit later possibly. And so if they got any of these guys, I'd be super happy with or without Giannis. I'm not going to complain about this pick, one of these picks in any way. But, if you're splitting hairs, Burries I think is the best fit with Giannis right now, the most NBA ready, the most versatile right now, can play, two-way guy, good on defense, and has the size and stuff. So he's. What
did you have second?
I had
with Giannis.
I had Fleming. They're all in a tier right together. So I did have Fleming second, Philon third, Michael Brown fourth, but they're all so close. Fleming is just because I really do like Flemings. It kind of just became okay, these guys are all a little bit flawed right now. They all do need a little bit of time. Philon with the weight, Flemings needs to fix kind of his shot selection and shot profile a little bit, and also put on some weight. And then Michael Brown still has some stuff, playmaking wise and defensively, that he still has to kind of fix it and improve upon before he's super ready. So, they all have things that I'm they're going to need a little bit of time, but I just went with who I like best as a prospect overall. And that was Flemings, Philon, Michael.
Yeah. That's all fair. And I think we've kind of ran over explanation for each of these guys too. So I definitely know where you're coming from when you're like ranking these guys.
My guy's Ben Flemings. We didn't do a podcast on him, but I did write an article on him. So if you want to check that out and go through kind of my deeper dive on him as a potential Bucks prospect, I like him a lot. I mean, I think he's got a good combination of athleticism, feel, and shooting and shot making, I should say. Not a fantastic 3-point shooter yet, but he's a really good shot maker in the mid range and like bucket getter. He's shifty. He's super, super quick. Reminds me of kind of a Tyrese Maxey coming out of college, where kind of lived in the mid range and was super bursty and quick, and also has good shooting indicators that he's a really good free throw shooter. The mid range shot is so good that you're like, I think he can get it back to 3 more. He didn't take a ton of threes, but shot a decent percentage on them. And at the combine's been shooting really well on and shot well on spot ups and stuff. So I'm not really worried about the 3-point shot for him. And I know he's small. That's the big issue with him, is he only has like a 6'3.5" wingspan, 6'4" wingspan.
Yeah.
Something like that. Very small wingspan. And I know that's a big, like, I take that seriously, but at the same time, he competes his butt off defensively. And I do think he's going to be someone that's at least serviceable and average to above average on defense. Cause I do believe in him he's super athletic and quick. He can stay in front of guys. He generates a lot of deflections and steals for a guy with a smaller wingspan. So, and then going off of that question, someone said, do we really want to draft a point guard and potentially move Rollins to the 2? You want to start with your answer to that one?
Yeah. I think especially in a non-Giannis like era or going into that, I think you're just drafting for best available, man. If Michael or Philon or Flemings or whoever it is at 10 and that's the best on your board, I think you go ahead and take that guy. And I think we both like Ryan Rollins a lot. I think we think that he's going to be a part of this team for a long time, and I think the Bucks think that too. But I think one of the reasons that we're so high on him and that we think the Bucks are so high on him is that he can, scale up and down. We've seen him do that. I think he's good alongside another guy who can handle the ball. I think he's good with being just the primary ball handler as well. So I wouldn't let that scare me away from drafting a guard. I also don't think that like it puts a cap on his ceiling at all either. You know what I mean? Like I think if Ryan is who we believe he is, I think that ceiling will show through regardless of, this being a guard, a big, Giannis, no Giannis. Like I don't like, again, I think that will basically prevail regardless of who they go with here.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's what we like about him is he can play either one. He can, as you said, scale up or down. And I mean, if you get a guy like Burries who can also do that, he can also play either guard position. Now you have 2 kind of combo guards. I think Philon is also someone that can play on or off the ball. Now with his weight and everything, like naturally he's going to, it's tough to put him at shooting guard or anything like that. But I mean, he's just someone that I think if he puts on a little bit of weight, he can kind of play either position. You can let Rollins take some ball handling duties at times. He's not a guy that needs to be the ball handler all the time. And I think that's another reason I'm a little bit lower on Michael Brown in general is I do think he does need to be that. And I don't see him as of right now, at least. Now he could become a better one, but I don't see him right now as like the off ball type of shooter and movement type of shooter that he would need to be if he's going to play the 2 more. I see him kind of just being like he needs to be pulling up a lot, have the ball in his hands and kind of creating for himself. So part of the reason I'm a little bit lower on him, and then Flemings is mainly on ball. I do believe in his shot, but he's not, and he was good spotting up this year. Like his spot up 3 numbers were pretty good on fairly low volume, but he, I think, can play a little bit of both. But again, his size kind of prevents him from ever being a true combo guard. He's always going to be more of a lead guard. But I think the beauty of Rollins is that he can play both positions, and it allows you some flexibility. It allows you that, hey, if we do find a point guard we really do like, then you're not afraid to draft him because if we have to move Rollins to the 2, we can do that. Or if we have to play him a little bit more off the ball, we can do that. He doesn't have to be on the ball all the time to be impactful. So yeah, I agree with everything that you said. And then we have someone saying, in the scenario that Horst sticks to his pattern and selects a project, would you prefer it being Nate Ament or Kareem Lopez? This is Hitler versus Stalin, essentially. So we were talking about this on yesterday's pod, Lopez versus Ament. They're both projects. They are both guys that I don't think they can play right away. I think they're going to need a couple years. Ament more to develop physically, whereas Lopez will be more to develop skill-wise and, developing a jumper, getting more polished defensively, that stuff. So for kind of different reasons, they both need time. And with both of them, it's the same thing for me. I don't, obviously they need time to develop and they're low floor prospects. And at the same time, I don't see a very high ceiling. I don't see star potential. So when you combine both of those things, I'm just not going to be in on you as a prospect. If I think there's a chance you completely bust and there's not a chance that you become a star, then what really is the point of drafting you? So it's a toss up for me. I would prefer, I think, slightly Nate Ament. And I think you said the same yesterday.
Yeah. Now, I'm always going back on that, but like you said, man, like they're both so low floor, lower ceiling for guys who are supposed to be like these big prospects. I just don't see it, man. With either of them, I guess I would lean Ament. Yeah, probably Ament.
I'm trying to think. If you're talking about someone who can, like, if you needed someone to play, and it's a terrible situation to be in if this is what you're choosing between, but if you needed someone to play on your team and contribute, like this year and next year in a Giannis scenario, I guess now I'd hate either one, but I guess I would maybe lean Lopez just because physically he is there.
Man, see, like I even struggle with that because in a Giannis like context, that means you're putting Lopez at the 3. And I talked about yesterday how I do not love that for him. I do not think he can hang on the wing.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's that bad, though. It's that bad. It's just awful to even put in the world.
Those are basically, is there anyone else that they could realistically take that you would be distraught over?
I was going to say, I could probably name 20 names that at 10, I would be completely fine with.
Yeah.
Over these two.
Yeah, I agree. You could pull something out of left field and you could be like, we're taking Joshua Jefferson at 10, and I'd be like, you know what? It's better than Nate Ament or Kareem Lopez.
No, I'm like literally going like Christian Anderson.
Christian Anderson. I would like, I'd be like, cool. I'm cool, man.
He could shoot it. Like, man.
Yeah, I agree. So then 2 questions that are kind of similar and also kind of going off of this. Someone asks, is Cam Carr at 10 a reach? And then someone else asks, is it a crazy reach to draft Dalen Swain at 10? So kind of like we're just saying, there's a lot of guys we'd be very fine with at 10. Some of them might even be considered reaches, but I'm like, it's better than drafting someone that you don't like or a guy that we just don't see the potential in. So I'd be totally fine if they walk away with Cam Carr or Dalen Swain at 10. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. I'd be happy. It'd be like, we got a guy that I like. And I think you feel the same. We both like both of those guys. But yes, it is a little bit of a reach, but reaching for a player that you like is fair and normal. And I think both of those guys have the type of upside that you're like, and floor too. They have the floor and the ceiling to me that makes you go, okay, I can understand it at least. And
yeah,
I wouldn't complain about it. Now, ideally, they could trade back and get those guys. Yes, that would make it a dream scenario if you could get them a little bit later, pick up something else, another pick, this draft or future draft, whatever. But that would be the dream. But again, I'm not going to complain about getting a guy you like at 10 and a player that clearly kind of fits a need and has the both floor and ceiling to possibly be worth the pick.
Yeah, you're probably asking the wrong guy, but I love both those guys. At 10, sign me up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how much I believe in their floor and ceiling. Like you said, I really like those guys. I would not mind that at all. Like wouldn't blink twice at taking either of those guys. Like, I mean, if the question is still, is it a reach? I mean, sure, I think potentially, but I think, each board is going to be different for every team. Some teams going to see that as a reach. Some teams are going to love the value there at 10. I think it's just about how the board falls for you and your team and where you have guys. You know what I mean? Like if they have Swain at 6, they're not trading down. You know what I mean? Like they're taking him at 10. It is what it is. It doesn't always work out, but yeah, I mean, maybe it's a reach, maybe it's not. I guess it just depends on your team.
Another question: what type of team do we want going forward, and how does the draft play into that? They said, personally, I want to see a defensive identity again. I definitely want to see a defensive identity again as well. I mean, I think most people do. I think that gives you such a high floor where if you're playing good defense and your team is tough to score on, it's like you're not going to be bad. You're going to be tough and you're going to be good, and you're going to at least have a level of like, this is a competitive basketball team. So I agree about the defensive identity. And I do think in the draft, and I've just kind of felt this way for years, and I know there are exceptions to this, but it's always just been to me, I'm not really interested in ever drafting someone that can't like in any way play defense, or if they're just a disaster defensively. It's like, I'm not into it, man. I don't want to do it. It just scares me too much, because in the NBA now, it just feels like you're only as good as your weakest link defensively. In the playoffs, especially, like you're going to get picked on, and whoever your weakest link is, that's going to be that person is going to be picked on, or you're only as good as that person. So I think that's been my focus for a few years now, is making sure that the guy can play defense, at least has the potential to play defense, I guess, and isn't just, again, a disaster on that end. So yeah, I mean, it's part of the reason I'm not high on Darius Acuff. I think he's going to be a disaster defensively, and there's other guys. I don't love Steinbach's defense, even though I know he's not horrible, but I'm a little bit lower on him just because I don't see a ton of potential there defensively. Lopez is kind of a mess defensively right now, which is part of the reason I don't like him. I don't totally believe in Michael Brown Jr.'s defense, which is why I'm lower on him. I do believe in the defense of like Braden Burries, Cam Carr developing into a better defender, and Swain, and even like Flemings. I do like his defense. I know he's smaller, but he really competes defensively, which I like. And then Philon at least showed some things in his freshman year at Alabama that made me say, okay, he at least has the ability to play defense. If he's in the right role and stuff and is locked in, I think he can be a decent defender.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would think that's the way they're going. I think you're maybe looking for potentially positional versatility, like being better or bigger at your position than other guys, like drafting big wings or big guards or whatever it may be. Like just doing that so that you can have a bit more positional versatility and do the things that Jenkins has kind of showed that he wants to do defensively in his time, or at his time in Memphis. I think I don't know if they have the team to do that right now. And I think with who they draft, we'll get a really good idea of which way they're going to, like how they're going to go about that, because I think this pick will definitely let us know a lot, obviously.
And this isn't a philosophy thing, but it is for a couple of years now. It's been like, can they just get someone on this roster between 6'7" and 6'9" that can do something with the ball in their hands and play some defense? It's like, it's just been too long since we've had actually like a legit good wing in here. And I think everyone kind of agrees on that, where it feels like everyone's either, you got a pretty big front court and then a fairly smaller-ish backcourt, and then it's like nobody in between. And there's just a lot of guys 6'5" and under, and a lot of guys 6'10" and over, and then just not a lot in between. So that's obviously something I want more of, is more of these wings. And like you said, kind of versatility. Usually those are the type of guys that offer some of that versatility, where you're 6'7", 6'8", and can handle the ball a little bit, and more versatile defensively, can guard multiple positions and stuff. So that's always something you want more about. I feel like you can never get enough of that stuff. So I think, yeah, that type of thing always comes into play. And just in general, I mean, it's a basic thing, but like how many guys on the team last year could dribble, pass, and shoot? Ryan Rollins?
3. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not many. It just feels like a lot of guys can do 1 or 2 of those things, but not all 3. And it's been, and then again, specifically with their role players over the years, you had Chris for a while that could do a lot of that. And obviously Giannis gets the ball a lot. So they took care of a lot of the load, but you didn't have a ton of role players that could actually do things and were versatile with the ball in their hands and stuff. So there's something they've been searching for a while. And I think having guys that can scale up and down a little bit and as needed provide some of that like complementary ball handling and scoring. Again, that's something I love about, for example, a guy like Burries. I know he's not huge or anything, but he's decent size for a guard and can scale up and down. He's not someone that is like, I can only hit spot up threes and I'm simply a 3-and-D player. I can't really do anything else. It's like, no. He can, he can be a point guard when he needs to. He's a really good complementary scorer in transition. He is someone that, can run pick and roll and attack out of closeouts and do all that stuff. It's not just like a stationary shooter or anything like that. So,
I mean, I think that's like kind of my infatuation with the 2 wings we talked about too, Swain and Cars. I like those guys defensively. I like those guys, what they can and project to be able to potentially do with the ball too. Like there's some versatility there as far as, scaling up and down and doing different things both offensively and defensively. So, I mean, I think the guards all have shown a bit of that in their own sense, but I think if you can get that from, a wing like we've been missing for so long, then I think that becomes insanely valuable. And maybe that isn't the right move to just swing at that because you've missed it for so long and, you're really trying to find that and it's a tough commodity to come by. But I don't know if you think it's the right play and, it's leaning into what you're going to be doing down the road as far as like, okay, we're going to try to play defense where we're swarming around, we're really flying around the court and, we're going to get out and transition a ton. So we need, guys who can grab it off the glass and go or rebound well for their position or whatever it may be. I'm really excited to see who they take for that reason, just to figure out which way they might be headed as far as team philosophy goes.
Yeah, and I mean, how many guys besides Giannis? Maybe I'm forgetting guys, and maybe it's not as bad as I think. But I'm just thinking about it. How many guys besides Giannis in recent years have been really good transition players on their team? I just feel like there haven't been many. And
you don't like Kyle Kuzma? You're not messing with that.
But yeah, getting a guy like a Carr or a Swain or someone like that, where it's like they're in the open floor, athletic type of guys. Because right now it just feels like Giannis is the only one giving us that, and it's like, yeah, when he's in the open floor, he's great, but there's just not a lot of other guys on this team that are open floor, get out and run type of guys. And, and then we can also get into, I mean, we're talking about several things here and they could use so many different things on this roster, but the possession maxing of the role players and stuff. I mean, we talked about that and that's been an issue at least this past season where they obviously got killed in the possession battle, but yeah, getting guys that can crash the offensive glass a little bit and, force turnovers, get to the free throw line, whatever the case may be, where you're getting up more shots than the opponent. And yeah, I think. I
just think that's like, yeah, man, that's why I love the guys. I think we love the guys that we do, man. Cam Carr, 17.6% defense rebound percentage. Like that's so good it's really good for a shooting guard, man. Like, were we getting 10% from, who we were playing at shooting guard last year? I really doubt it. I mean? And I think that plays into why that season looked the way it did is we were having to throw Jericho Sims out there to really like handle the boards, which is tough, man. It's a tough place to put yourself in.
All right. Next question. Rank the 4 guards in the 5 to 8 range in terms of favorite to least favorite for the Bucks. And this kind of goes with other questions that had asked if the Bucks do end up with like the 5th pick and the top 4 are gone, who would you take? And I know most of the guys in that range are guards. So basically, I mean, if you had the 5th pick and all the top 4 were gone, would you take a guard next?
Man, I'd hate to have the 5th pick.
I know I wouldn't want this to like, I know a lot of people would be excited if they trade up for 5th, but I'd kind of be like, I'm not a huge fan of it. But
yeah.
If the Bucks had the 5th pick, top 4 gone, are you going one of the guards?
Man, you better love one of those guys.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, so we'll go through those four guys. Michael Brown, Flemings, Acuff, Wagler. The only one we did a profile on was Michael Brown. Meant to do one on Flemings too. We didn't end up doing one, but I think those are the two that have a reasonable chance of falling to 10 or at least some chance. Acuff and Wagler probably not, but if you get to 5, I've been a Flemings guy. I like Flemings. He would be my pick. I do believe in him pretty strongly as, in my opinion, my favorite guard in the class, but I'd understand Wagler. I understand Michael Brown. Again, I'm not a big Acuff guy just because of the defense. I think it's going to be terrible, but I mean, I wouldn't complain about, like, I like Wagler's shot making ability. I think he's got I think he's going to be a good player. And then Michael Brown's got a pretty good ceiling too.
Yeah, I think my number one guard is Wagler. I love the feel, man. I think he's got really good feel, and I don't think you can teach that. That's, we've talked about a bunch of things that you can kind of get to in the league, and you can put on weight or find a shot. Feel is something that you kind of have to have, and for someone who's not athletic or not huge as far as like weight that Wagler is, I think he's just got really good ability to spatial awareness on the court, and just knows how to get to his spots and consistently get there and find a way to get shots up, man. I really believe in him long term as like man, it sucks because if you're drafting him at 5 and you're trading up to do that, I think you have to put the ball in his hands and you have to see if he can be the number one for you. But I think, he's got a good fallback of being like a really good off ball guy. It's like someone who can really be good off ball. And again, I think if you're trading up and you're getting a guy at 5 and you're, putting draft capital into him, that you want him to be your one. But I mean, either way, I think I really believe in him long term.
Do you have a good comp for him?
Man, I like the Reeves comp.
I was going to say that was kind of the best one I've seen. And for those that don't know, he is, super good shot maker and crafty and great feel for the game, but he doesn't have like the athleticism or pop or creation, separation ability of some of these other guys. So people question, what's the ceiling if, you're not going to really be able to. He even had a hard time sometimes separating in college. It was a lot of difficult shot making, but the guy can make difficult shots. He's arguably the most talented shot maker in the class. So it's kind of a question of, do you believe the shot making just translates, or are you a skeptic and think, okay, in the NBA, you're not getting away with that? But I mean, the feel and shot making is a really good combo.
What about Khris Middleton as a comp?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, because he has like, Khris was very smart. Khris was very crafty. Mm-hmm. Khris was very like get to your spots and hit shots over guys. And I mean, he could be an even better playmaker, better playmaking Khris Middleton. Obviously he's a little bit smaller, but for a guard, he's 6'6". He's got good height. So I think that's a decent comp. I think all the physical stuff is pretty similar. Like, again, if you're going to question anything with those guys, they don't have the burst or athleticism. And I mean, Wagler would have to get a little bit stronger, I think, to be the type of scorer that Khris ends up being. But
for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of Khris was getting to his spots and just having or being able to do that without the athleticism and quick burst to do that, like possession in, possession out. I think you really have to be a bit stronger. And I don't know if Wagler gets there, but I think as far as like, maybe he's never like the lead ball handler, but I think Khris was like so good as like a 2A that like, and not only creating for himself, but creating for others too. Like, I mean, I know we're both huge fans of Khris's playmaking. So I that's why I like that comp. I know Bucks fans might not like it. So I kind of keep that one tucked, but
no, I could see it. Like I could see Wagler being that type of player where like never good enough to be a number one on a team, but he could be a number 2 that really gets you somewhere and is like a really nice complimentary guy to a high volume superstar who he can take a back seat and be off ball. Exactly. But when he needs to be on ball, he can do what you need to do and kind of get it done at that when he needs to and get to his spots, the shot making and the feel and all that stuff. So yeah.
And then real quickly, last thing, I just think to be able to do that, I think you have to be really efficient. And I think Wagler is going to be really efficient in the league. I just think he has that shooting ability and the ability to hit tough shots to to remain efficient in that type of role.
Yeah. So I went Flemings, Wagler, Brown, Acuff. You're going Wagler. What would be your rest of your order?
So Wagler, I'll go Michael, Flemings, Acuff.
All right, cool. Acuff haters on this pod. Let's go. Next question. If you're on the clock at 10 and you're choosing between, now let's just say these are only 3 you can choose between, but you're choosing between Flemings, Yaxel, or Nate Ament. Who are you picking?
Oh my God.
Definitely not Nate Ament. Fleming, okay. I mean, Flemings or Yaxel, because this would be, I guess this is not a bad question to address, because I think there are plenty of people who would be upset if the Bucks did end up taking Flemings over Yaxel, because they'd go, you're taking a small guard when you could have just taken the guy that can plug in right away, play immediately, good role player, do everything well, very productive, all that stuff. So what's your thinking on that? I'll give mine then as well.
I think if we're talking about a team with Giannis, I think if those are 3 options, you go with Yaxel. And that might be the first and last time I ever say that. But yeah, man, it'd be tough. And again, like I do like Flemings. I think there's some scenarios where I do really like him. And maybe you could throw out another 3 names and he's at the top of that list. But I think in this scenario, if Giannis is still on the team, you go with Yaxel. And I think if Giannis isn't on the team, I think you go with Flemings.
I do agree. And as much as I love Flemings, yeah, if Giannis is on the team, I do have Yaxel a tier above in my rankings with Giannis on the team, because, yeah, he's just so ready. It's very hard to go wrong with that pick if you're trying to win right now. He is kind of tailor-made for that, fits in well with the current team and stuff and what they need. So I would pick Yaxel if you're keeping Giannis, and then if they're not, I would easily pick Flemings. I have him a couple tiers above Yaxel in the scenario where they're not keeping Giannis, because the upside is much higher with him, and he could become, kind of a star guard if things break the right way for him. He could be a really, really good player and kind of a future, like one of the future stars of the team. So you'd be going for more upside there. So where would you draft? We don't have to go through every player, but where would you draft current Bucks if they were in this draft? If Ryan Rollins was in this draft, where would you draft him?
5. Current age?
Yeah. Current Ryan Rollins.
But do I know that he just put up 17, 5 and 5 in the NBA last year?
Yeah, it's a tough question, but I guess yes, you do.
Right. Okay. So yeah, if I know that, I would. I'm taking him 4.
You're taking him 4? You're taking him over Caleb?
Yeah.
I would go. It's hard because I feel like if I had to bet, there's probably 2 guards that do just end up being better, but I don't know who those are. And so I guess I'd rather just take Rollins than try to guess who that guy is, because I genuinely don't know. Yes, I think Flemings could be better. I think Michael Brown could be better. Wagler could be better, but none of those guys I'm like, yeah, I for sure want them.
For sure. Yeah.
So I guess I would take the sure thing of I know what we're getting. Trying to think of another guy we could throw in here that, where would you take them? We don't have a ton of good players to pick from here. Where would Miles Turner go in this draft?
That's the one I was going to bring up. So if we know what we know, I think he's the first big off the board, outside the top 4.
And at current age, you think?
If we're talking current age, yeah, that's tough. Maybe not. I don't know, but it's just a lot of these guys, man.
Because I guess, yeah, the question becomes, it depends on your team. And if you needed help right away, you'd rather have Miles Turner than the draft pick. But it's how many of these guys do you think end up being better than Miles Turner? I don't know.
Yeah. Wouldn't the Thunder take him at 12 or whatever the pick they have?
Yeah, I would think so. I think it'd get to that point where the Warriors and Thunder are, and you'd be like, okay, one of those teams that needs help now would take him.
Yeah.
But I think that top 10 would still be we'd rather take the swing than just
add
you to our team. Okay. Someone says, if Giannis stays, what starting lineup do you hope starts first game of the season, including trades and free agency? Love from Sweden. Appreciate you. That's from Samuel Merdvie.
Samuel.
Starting lineup that you hope starts first game of the season if Giannis stays with trades and free agency. Give me a hypothetical lineup.
I got you. Let's go Ja Morant. No, I'm just playing. I'll go Rollins. Give me Rollins. Give me Cam Carr, Dalen Swain, Giannis, and I got to think of a hypothetical big. Is Jumpman Sim starting at the 5 right here?
He might be.
I mean, Miles. I'll go with Miles, man.
Yeah, I do think Miles still ends up on the team. I don't know. That's a tough one. So I'm going to stick with Miles. I'm obviously hoping Giannis stays as the 4. At the 1, Rollins. I'll go Burries at the 2, and I'll go. So here's the thing. I do hope that if they're going to keep Giannis around, I'm hoping that they make the Kuzma plus 2 future first trade for some type of wing in here, like a true 3 that can start. And I don't know if I would want Swain as the starter yet. Like
no, that's fair. Yeah, I was like,
but yes, I would ideally want like Burries as your starter and then Swain off the bench. Like if you have 2 picks, I would hope that we're getting like something like that where you have like a guard that can play next to Rollins, plus you get a backup wing, and then ideally trade for a main wing, such as like a Trey Murphy, but I don't think that that's realistic.
I was even going to go like, man, I would really love Herb Jones for like half the Murphy price. You know what I mean? Like you could sell me on Tari Eason, but I think if that's what you're going with, I think you really got to swing at 10 and get you a guy that you think can put it in the bucket.
Yeah.
Which maybe takes away Cam Carr, right? Like if you don't think Cam Carr can do it right now, then do you go with just best guard there at 10?
Yeah. Eason's a good name to bring up for free agency. I mean, we'll be getting into that stuff pretty quickly after the draft, but Bucks are going to have the mid-level, so they're going to have 20-ish million to spend, and he's going to be one of the guys.
Is he a free agent?
I can't remember.
He might have a player option, a team option. One of the 2.
You don't like RJ Barrett, right?
Oh, man, you know what? If Giannis is here, you could probably sell me on him, man.
Because he's always been a name that I'm like, he could be like not super expensive.
Like $40 million.
I know. But
is he right?
That's why I'm like, I don't know if you could somehow. I feel like no matter what, you're going to end up
20,
with what is it?
29.
Okay, not quite as bad.
29, 1 year left. This is the last year on it.
We're going to have RJ Barrett on our team. Kuzma and a first for RJ Barrett. Send it in. Let's go. So I don't know. He's always been someone in the back of my mind of like, he's not quite the price of a Trey Murphy or anything, but I do think again, he's got decent size. I don't think he's horrible defensively, and he can do things with the ball in his hands as either a scorer or like just like he can run some offense and go get buckets. So always been a name I've just kind of had in the back of my mind, but I'm not in love with it or anything. Just a name.
You said you love him? That's what we're going with?
Sure. Fine. When RJ Barrett's a buck, I'm getting a jersey and you're going to be sad.
Yeah. I probably will be, dude.
RJ Barrett will average 20. He's going to average like the Chris Middleton 24, 5 and 5 in the finals when we win in 2027.
What about Lou Dort? Nah, we can't do Lou Dort. Because he's or he's going to be. I think they're going to decline his PO if that's what.
Look, I'm not going to be. I wouldn't be mad at all. It's funny. The Thunder have so many guys that I'm like, to them, they're just some dispensable guy that they don't need, and for every other team, or at least for us, it's like, I would kill to have that starter. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean,
they gotta get a. He's undersized, which is funny, but like they got to get a 3 in there some way.
Yeah. The 3 is going to be the biggest question mark, and it has been. But I do think they'll pull something off, and if they're keeping Giannis, I mean, they're gonna. I think they'll have some type of plan to address that because, I think that'll be part of their selling point to Giannis is like, okay, we're getting this guy to be our new starting three alongside you and Turner and Rollins. And then, then you might end up drafting. I guess here's a good question. Do you think whoever we draft and we could have multiple draft picks, we could have one. Do you think that a player they draft in this draft is starting on opening night?
Oof, that is a good question.
That's when I just came up with that on my own.
You sure you didn't steal that from somebody?
No, I didn't.
Ooh, man. I mean, this team is almost depleted to the point where we're not. Maybe depleted isn't the right word, man. But like, everyone that's coming back, they tried last year. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Why not?
Yeah. And new coach and everything. So I don't know. I'm not really worried about him giving a chance to these guys. And I think probably, and maybe you could go multiple different ways with this. You could say, well, ideally no, because it means they traded for better players and these guys are just backups and you have a good enough roster that they don't need to be starters. But you could also say in a row where they're, I don't know. It could go multiple ways. You could also go the other way. So
I mean, they got a lot of roster spots taken up, and I don't know if they overhaul the roster that much if they're bringing Giannis back. Or I mean, wouldn't say that much, but like, I don't know how many impactful guys you can bring in, or like clear cut starters at least. What would you say are the percent chances that this 10th pick starts?
60.
That's where I was going to be at 60. Very safe 60.
Like a minus 157. And I'll bet no. I'm going to bet no at
I was
plus
going to say
140.
that. Yeah.
I'm going to bet no at plus 140.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. But I don't know. It'll be very interesting. And there's so many ways they can go. And we'll talk about all the scenarios in our next pod. Anything else you want to get to? We kind of got through all the questions. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that was it, man.
Yeah.
Getting closer and closer.
Yeah. So we'll talk through a bunch of different scenarios and players and our rankings and stuff in our big board pod. And so that'll just be us going through. We'll have separate with Giannis or without Giannis, kind of go through our lists of where are we at, who do we like, put them into tiers, and then talk about possible scenarios where we're trading down, adding an additional pick, whatever. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the questions on Twitter. Follow us at Nathan Marzian and at Bucks_breakdown, the podcast at BucksU_pod. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, Bucks and 6.